Welcome to the IgnoreLimits podcast, where it's all about taking your mind and body to the next level. If you want to gain muscle, shred fat, and become successful in life, this is the podcast for you. And here's your host, SJ. He's an Amazon bestseller author, blogger, and fitness fanatic that's here to help you transform your body and mind with easy-to-follow, proven methods.
Hey guys, SJ from IgnoreLimits here. Just wanted to welcome you to the first official IgnoreLimits.com podcast. In this podcast today, I just wanted to talk to you guys about the transformation I made over the last 5 years. Hopefully that can inspire you and teach you some things about how to transform not only your physique but also your mindset through this podcast and also the corresponding articles I have on my website. So you guys can check that out. Alright, so in early 2010 is when I actually first started training. Back then I weighed 135 pounds, guys, which is just over 60 kilos, which isn't much at all, especially for a man at 18 years of age. So just after seeing some friends put on some muscle mass and looking at, men's health and fitness magazines, I thought, hey, I want to get a body like that, and if I set my mind out to do something, I'm going to do it. So what I did, guys, initially was I actually went out and found on a website called Gumtree here in Australia, which is similar to Craigslist in the US, a barbell bench and squat rack set for around $200. So I picked that up, took it home, set it up at home the very same day. I'm just so excited to get started with that. And from there, it's all go from there, guys. So eventually I started out doing a very basic routine. Not really a routine, just doing bicep curls, throwing together some exercises that I thought would work. And after messing around with that for about a month, 2 months or so, I decided to look into doing a proper routine, which I should have done from the start, but as a beginner, no one really does that. So if you found this just when you've started working out, you guys are on track to make some great progress from day one, which is fantastic. So the program I started doing initially is called Strong Lifts 5x5. So basically that's a 5x5, so sort of strength and mass building workout regime. It's 3 workouts per week. Each workout's roughly 45 minutes, guys, so it's nice and quick. Bearing in mind I was doing this in the convenience of my own home as well, in the backyard. So this workout regime focuses on the major exercises, major compound lifts, so your bench press, your squat, your deadlift, overhead press, and there's an accessory row in there as well, guys. So there's no direct arm work, or you're not hitting the biceps and the triceps individually, which most people consider to be the biggest issue at the start. But little do they realize, with rowing and with your bench press, that is using biceps and triceps as the secondary muscle group. So after your chest, you're basically using all your triceps in your bench press. So I think that's something people really need to take into consideration. When you're bench pressing, your body weight 1.5 times, 2 times your body weight, you're not going to have to worry about how big your arms are, just because your triceps will have blown up from all that pressure, all that force they're subject to from the bench pressing, guys. So that's not a problem there. So I followed the Strong Lifts program for around about a year, I believe it was, about a year. And during that time, I spent the majority of the time focusing on actually learning correct form on especially the squat, the bench, and the deadlift. Just because one main mistake that I found most people make in the gym is they just load up far too much weight and just lift with their ego and just try and lift as much as they can, while on squats only utilizing about half of the rep, so they're not even reaching parallel. On the bench press, letting the bar touch your chest, not stopping beforehand, or definitely not bouncing the bar off your chest, guys. So I focused solely on getting the correct form down, so later I could start adding some serious weight and gaining more and more size, and doing it correctly without getting injured, which is a big thing for beginner lifters. Luckily I was able to mitigate that risk and didn't encounter any bad injuries since the beginning of my lifting, essentially. And so from there, around December 2011, is when a gym actually opened up only a few streets away from me, and I've been working hard over the course of that year, not only in terms of my physique, but also in actually working a job as well, saving up money. So when that gym opened, I was one of the foundation members, so I got in there nice and quick, got a good deal. And then from there, I actually stopped doing my strong lifts program just because now I had access to, leg extension machines, leg press, the typical preacher curl, and all those, cable machines, all the accessory sort of isolation exercises, isolation equipment rather. And from there, I actually found, I didn't realize it at the time, but afterwards I found my progress was actually slowing down just because I was, going higher rep, focusing on, more isolation, cable flies, etc., rather than the heavy bench I was used to doing, which was getting me some really great results. I assumed it was because I was, not supplementing like I should be. I fell victim to those marketing campaigns and stuff that the billion-dollar supplement industry has with all these major brands, which I won't name. But from there, I bought about $500 worth of supplements online. Things like amino acids, ZMA, multivitamins, glutamine, NO2, so nitric oxide boosters, pre-workout supplements, you name it. I basically bought it, guys. Looking back, it was quite stupid, but at the time, unless someone tells you, you don't really realize these things. Grinding away there with that regime and with those supplements, eventually I reached 176 pounds. So that's about 40 pounds up from where I initially started, which is quite good. And then from there, so I kept grinding away there until around July 2012. So around July 2012 is when I was actually looking for an old assignment of mine. I actually stumbled across my old A5 training journal from back when I was performing my strong lifts regimes in my backyard. Just reading over, looking from workout to workout. I highly recommend keeping a workout journal, by the way. It's a fantastic idea. Just going to figure out what is working for you and what isn't, which is what saved me in this case here exactly. Because looking back over, I could see my bench was going up over time, my squat was going up, my deadlift was going up, even my overhead press, so shoulder press. And from there, I realised that that's what I needed to do again. Isolation just wasn't particularly working well for me. I'd lost motivation because I wasn't seeing the results. I was putting in, more time and what I thought was more effort in the gym, and I wasn't reaping those results that I was looking for. Maybe you can relate to this, maybe you can't, but it's just something to bear in mind. So you need to train hard, but you need to train smart as well. You need to train right for your body, and you need to know what you're doing exactly. So from there, I actually started following a compound regime again, and I actually spent a lot of time, weeks and months, researching, correct nutrition, how to calculate my calories, how to manipulate my calories based on whether I want to lose fat or gain muscle, and just learning that, supplements are essentially, the majority of them are rubbish, and the ones that do work are just that, supplements, so they'll never replace food. They're only there to supplement your diet, and they can add, I'd say up to maybe 5% to the results you're already getting. So after that, I basically combined all those principles that I'd learned on heavy lifting from the strong lift style of workout regime and diet on, how many calories to eat, my macronutrient breakdown, things like that. And I basically combined that all together along with a few isolation exercises, a little bit of accessory work. Just to sort of fill out my routine, and so I can focus on a little bit of higher rep stuff, even though I do definitely advocate working in the sort of 4, 5, 6, possibly up to 7 rep range. And from there, that basically leads us to today, so 2014, guys. So start of 2014, I stumbled across Victor Pride's website, which, in case you haven't seen it, is boldanddetermined.com. I ran through his 30 days of discipline program, which chances are if you're into fitness and motivation, that type of thing, you've probably heard of it. It is one of the best programs out there. I do highly recommend that. So you can check out more information on that on my blog. I've done a full review of it, done a video review as well, just talking about my thoughts, things like that. So definitely check that out, guys, if you haven't already. And so from that program, I learned to discipline myself in and succeed in not just the gym, but basically all other aspects of my life, so business, relationships, etc. And at the moment, motivation's at an all-time high. So right now, guys, so started off about 135 pounds. I'd say, judging by my pictures, I didn't have it measured, but I'd say I was about 15% body fat. As of right now, I'm 200 pounds, 10% body fat. I'm not quite as lean as I would like to be, but I am going through a bulking phase at the moment, and will be cutting down in a few months to possibly around 190-ish, I'd say, maybe 186. And basically, yeah, I just wanted to start off this podcast with a bit of an introduction about me, and just let you guys know that, whatever physique you want to achieve, whatever goals you want to achieve, they are possible. I didn't have any special circumstances. There's no magic supplements I used. I didn't hire a personal trainer. Basically, I figured out what worked for me, and I'm here to figure out, and I'm here to teach you guys what works as well. Because I am completely natural, so I don't use any hormone-altering supplements or anabolic steroids, etc. And people that do use that do train differently to how a natural person trains. I mean, they can get away with doing higher repetitions, whereas someone natural that wants to put on size needs to focus on overloading the muscles with heavy weight, low repetition type stuff, guys. So there is quite a difference there. But over the next couple of podcasts, I'll be going over my dieting principles, my training regime, the few supplements that I do find useful, and just a bit more motivation for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Let me know your thoughts on it, if there's anything more you'd like me to include, and we'll go from there. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Ignore Limits podcast. Be sure to visit the blog, www.ignorelimits.com, for more podcasts, videos, and articles to help you take your life to the next level.